If you're ready to build your business with AI, stop listening to the gurus. Oh, you've heard it. They say create a bunch of content with AI, and that's what you do, but nothing seems to happen. Nobody clicks, nobody views, and you don't make any money. So instead, what I'm going to talk about today is how to create content for AI. There's a huge difference. Creating content with AI is something we all have done, where you go to ChatGPT and you ask it to write an article, a video script, create an image, or a social media post. This is all fine and good if you know what you're doing and you already have a large audience. However, if you're just starting out, it's probably, pretty frustrating because nothing happens. So today, I'm going to show you a method that I've been using to create tons of content with AI in a very systematic approach that drives tons of visitors to my websites, blogs, and ultimately the stuff that makes me money. But it all has to do with the way you create the content in the first place. Instead of creating content with AI, where we're going to be doing what everyone else is doing, we're going to create content with the specific purpose of being designed for AI. This is going to get you much more output, a cleaner result, stuff that people actually want to look at, engage with, and ultimately builds our business. And did I mention I used this strategy last week to create over 200 pieces of content with AI in less than 2 hours? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is super powerful. All right, so let's dive in and get to the bottom of how to create content for AI. First of all, we want to realize that AI looks at things in a very specific way, and it analyzes them based on a structure. And if we can tap into that structure, we can actually get a lot of content out of one piece in a very strategic way. And the way we're going to start by doing that is going to AI and asking for an outline. Much like right here where I went through and got like the top affiliate marketing niches, this is kind of an idea of what we're looking at, only in your niche it might be like the top terms for mortgage or something like that. So very, very straightforward, and there's some tools that we're going to use to make this a lot easier. Now, as we go through, I want you to understand that the results you're going to see here, the money I've made, the money people are making, is not typical, implied, or guaranteed. Even with AI and all these tools that help us out, the average person trying to make money online makes nothing. So you want to take this with a grain of salt. You want to look at this as a real business. There are risks, there are rewards, and most people make nothing. Also, one other thing to look at is the AI content warning. AI is not perfect. It's not human. It makes mistakes. So looking at that and saying, okay, well, is it going to say something wrong? Is it going to say something false? Is it going to say something that could get you in hot water? It might. So we always want to take a look at this and really overlook everything with a fine-tooth comb so we can see what's going on. Now, as I went through, this is an example from what I went through last week, where I was able to create over 200 pieces of content in less than 2 hours. I'm going to show you how it works. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to start doing this every Wednesday to batch make content for social media, video content, posts, blog posts, different things like that, reports, press releases, the whole 9 yards. This is something that is super powerful. It works in a very strategic way by tapping into the nature of why AI is so powerful in the first place. First of all, let's look at the overview. Why content made for AI is different from regular content. Well, content made for AI is taking that systematic approach and saying, okay, what is it that AI is good at? What is it I can extract from it? And how can I create something, whether it's a video, a document, a report, or whatever it is, designed to go into AI, right? We're actually creating something that's designed to go into the AI to come out as content that will help us build our business and get traffic. The concept is one master document or video or webinar, and that is going to turn into infinite posts, slides, and videos. This is stuff that perpetuates your business. Very important. The example workflow would be you make a big video or script, throw it into Manus AI, get slides, posts, clips, images, and the whole 9 yards. Now, one of the most important things to look at here is this needs to all be based on your niche and why people search for what they search for. What you're going to see is that if I go into any niche, you are going to find different keywords and terms that people look up. Like if I was to go over here and let's say go to ChatGPT and I say something like list the top 50 mortgage terms people need to know when getting a mortgage. What's going to happen here is you're going to see that these terms are going to naturally pair with things people search for. So if we do like something like closing cost, okay, the only person that would look up closing cost is someone that's doing a mortgage. Like, other than that, I mean, there's not that many different types of closing costs. It's pretty specific, or deed of trust or something like that. And what you're going to find out is that there's these terms, and then there's all these subcategory terms. So like closing cost calculator, who pays the closing costs, and all of these different things that are in the mortgage niche. Okay, this is super important because if you understand how content is broken up, then you're going to understand why this works so well. So looking at this, you are going to go into your niche. And I have this list of all these niches here so that you can kind of understand what's going on. We'll go ahead and use the mortgage one as an example, just because you could see like all of this stuff is going to fit. If you have amortization, I think is how you say it, you're going to see that this one also gets a lot of traffic. So these are all based on a lot of traffic. You are going to see competition. That doesn't matter to us because we're looking at this in a different way. Now, as we go through, what I would do if I was starting with this one is I go through and I plan my master content. What would it look like? We want something that's low barrier of entry, easy to make, based on terms that we know people search for, based on things that if someone was interested in a mortgage, they would be very likely to watch this content. We don't want to just create any content and every content. We want content that gets us buyers and people that are interested in what we have to do. That's where your topic scope needs to be broad enough to give you a bunch of subpoints, right? Like now I have a bunch of these. We got 50 different ones. You could probably say now 50 more. And it'll just keep coming up with all these different terms related to mortgages. And I could just keep going and going and going. Now, the way that this is super easy is I'm going to go through and I'm going to have the AI start by being broad enough to give us 50 to 100 subpoints, maybe more. The one I did was 200. It was a big one. It took 2 hours. It was tiring because I did it live, but actually going through, and don't worry, I'll have those links in the description so you can watch that video. But we also want it narrow enough to attract a targeted audience that is what we want, right? Because like, yeah, we could go post fun videos, but those don't really make that much money. We can post fun content that doesn't even get the people that we want. When I post specific stuff, that's where it works. The formats that work best for this is like 100 tips, a glossary like we did with the mortgage terms, or maybe 100 tips for mortgages, 50 ways to use ChatGPT or whatever tool you're using, 50 ways to use a lawnmower or whatever it is, right? 50 websites for this niche, 50 websites for that niche. Looking at that is very important. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use AI to research those sources. We're going to do AI-assisted brainstorming with ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and my new favorite, Manus AI. Looking at Manus AI, you're able to do what's called wide research. I did a video on this last week. Check the description. That video will be there. Very important. Don't miss it. Watch it and get the stuff from it, because there's a lot of good stuff I went through in that video talking about the way that we research, which I think the way I research things is a lot different from other people because I'm trying to extract the profit from a niche, and that's a very specific way to do this. So going through here, what you can do is deep research. And deep research will actually go through and look at a lot of different things. Like here, it was so specific. It was like ChatGPT 5 in the last 24 hours. Here's the things it's looking at. Boom, it went out there and searched the entire web. Now, this research took a while. It took like 3 hours for it to complete it. But I went and did other things, right? So very important. Now, once we do this and we have our wide research, or maybe you could use Google Gemini deep research, or even ChatGPT, just like we're doing here. Now what I would want to do is I would want to say, now make talking points on each of these, let's say 20 seconds or so, for a giant mortgage terms webinar. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to give me the talking points, and this is super important because what you might not be noticing is I'm creating stuff for AI. This is super important. And looking at this, it's actually doing a lot of the work for me right here where I'm like, oh, now I have these mortgage terms. I could do a webinar, or I could do maybe have this where I have 11 labs or whatever AI voice speak all this. And what I'm going to end up with is, okay, 30 seconds each times 200. So it's going to be about an hour long, right? Get an intro. Hey, welcome to the mortgage thing. Here's all the terms you need to know. Boom. Now, this is going to be a big video. It'll get some views because it's like, okay, this is kind of cool. It'll be a big blog post. It'll get some views. But more importantly than that, we're actually creating this for AI so that AI can extract it. Okay, so now I would take this, I'd make a slideshow, just like here, right? This is a slideshow. I read this up. Just like the video I did last week. It was a slideshow. We scrolled. I just use a web page as a slideshow, super simple. And then what I do is I go through and structure it. So we're going to research. We're going to get the big document, okay? When I went through and I got the skills for last week's, you could see it over here in Manus. I got those skills and I put it into this, which actually went through and told us all the different skills and things like that. Now, what you add to it in the other steps is super, super important and will get traffic, right? Because you're gonna structure it in a different way. And as I say all the time on here, content structured differently can do really well for you if you think a little bit different on each thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to structure our content for AI processing. We're going to think about, okay, clear headings. So if I'm doing this big mortgage terms thing, okay, now I might say categorize them in blocks or something like that. And it'll go through and it'll categorize. That way it's like, oh, here's the ones that are about lenders. Here's the ones that are about this, right? Loan basics and types. So now the AI would know, as I read this, boom, here's the types. As I read this, here's the process and approval. As I read this, property value, on and on we go. Very simple, very straightforward. We're looking at this and we're like, okay, now we're getting something that is going to help. If we're doing, how to start blogging, maybe you go through and do like WordPress and this and that, and all these different subcategories of WordPress and stuff like that is going to get you the audience that you want. So now what we're doing is we can actually turn this into a webinar slide deck. So I'm going to say, now please turn into the webinar slide deck or whatever, okay? And it'll go through and do the title slide. And now this is important because I could actually give this to Manus and it'll actually make the slideshow for me, and then I could pair it with the audio and have this giant thing. And again, the giant thing is, it's not the big thing, but it is the big thing. Let me show you what I mean. What's going to happen here is you are going to have content, okay? You have this big content. So I have, let's call this the big 100 webinar, okay? This is the big 100 webinar with all the terms and all the stuff. Now, even if this doesn't take off and go viral, that says viral. Even if it doesn't take off and go viral, that's okay, because what I just did is I made a giveaway. This is something people would want to watch. You could make little chapters and stuff like that. It's almost something you could probably even charge for if you wanted, although I'm not going to hinder it by charging a few bucks. I'm going to give it away to get a bunch of clients, okay? So now what I have is I have my giveaway or my big money cool thing, okay? This is a really, 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 really good structure. Then I'm going to have all the broken up little pieces of this, all the 100 pieces, okay, whether they're videos, slides, posts, whatever they are, that are going to promote the big thing. Right? So here's my little video on how to get approved for an FHA loan. Great, wonderful, good. Now go watch my big kahuna webinar about this other thing. Okay, see how that works? It's like it naturally promotes the other thing. This will naturally promote this, which is naturally going to take them to this. Building a mailing list, building it up, making it work. Creating the content for the AI is key. So now I'm going to take this. I have 31 different slides. I can now take this and make the giant webinar or whatever it is. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to use something like Manus. Okay. And Manus, this thing creates slides for you, which is crazy. Let me pull up the one. I had one over here. I think it was this one. Let's see. Where is Manus? Manus. I know I had him in here somewhere. It was this one. Here we go. And it has all the different slides. And you can say what you want, right? Because as I went through, I was like, oh, take a quote that I said from each of them, put it on there. So I could go through with a new task. Okay, so here we go. We're going to make this a 31-point slideshow. Boom. And then I would go through and say, now brand it with my website or my info if I want to get more people to come to my site. Maybe I'm a mortgage broker or something like that. Now I'm going to go through and that content is going to perpetuate itself. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we make that content, because what I'm going to do is, now that I have my big video, I'm going to take that and I'm going to have it slice it up into little pieces like we did for this other one here. I think it was the tasks over here. Yeah, this one here. Right, so now we're going to go through and we're like, okay, now I have this thing that I can start using. And I started doing this, and yes, it does work very well. I post them on social media. I make a little blog post about them. And now what's happening is now we have lots of content for all different things that we want. Now, as we're going through that, what we're going to do is we're going to keep one idea per bullet or paragraph. Okay, so if you have a bullet point or whatever, like the 31 that we have here, okay, you would have, okay, giant, whatever, we're not this one. I would use this slide as a social media one and post it like maybe every 10 other slides. So post 10, they get the value, they like it, and then say, hey, go here, check out the big one or whatever, okay? Now, going through here, we want to look at each one and make sure these are separatable by AI. We want to make sure it knows, boom, here's the big thing. And the way that you're going to do that is by saying, okay, here is the agenda for this slide. Here is what you need to know. Then it'll extract out and say, here's a loan basics. Here's a types. And it'll go through and everything's going to be systematic. Same kind of thing if you're doing, how to create videos online or how to do this or whatever it is. Very, very important. Then you can include labels and tags like tip, definition, example, website. Another thing you can also do is you can have what's called an outlier, where I could go through and say, at the beginning of every slide, make sure you have a quote or an arrow or whatever it is, and the AI will know, because computers and AI read like computers and AI. They know when to take notes if you tell them when to take notes. As per human, you kind of have to listen for what you want. But if I came on and I said, okay, every time I say elephant, get ready to take a note, the AI will know that. And it'll be like, oh, get the pen out every time he says elephant, or it has brackets or whatever it is. And going through and looking at that's going to be very important. And we can even ask, okay, what would be some tips for creating content for AI to take notes, extract, make slides, ECT. And it'll go through and it'll tell you like, oh, hey, these are the things that I would look for if I was breaking up content. What are the things it looks for? If you take, a speech and put it in there, what would it look for? How would it know that this is important and that's important? That's what we want to do. We want to really build that out. And you're going to do that with like a tip, a definition, an example, a website, or whatever. And the tip would be like this. Use short bullet points for easy AI extraction, definition, AI-ready content. That means content formatted so AI can easily repurpose it. Okay, going through that is important, because now, instead of just like a big lecture, now I'm going through and I'm making systematic content for the purpose of AI to extract into other stuff. Then we're going to go through and we're going to record the content. So much like I'm making a video here, I have Camtasia open. I'm recording my screen with different things like this. What you're going to do is the same kind of thing. If you don't want to be on camera and you don't want your voice, you can use 11 Labs or whatever it is. You could do screen sharing or a hybrid where you have picture in picture, or some people use like, caricatures or cartoons or something like that. That would work. You're going to use slides with bullet points, which makes it easier for Manus to turn them into separate slides. Now, we're going to create the slides in Manus, because I think there's a double bonus if you create it in Manus or in an AI, because the AI is naturally going to make it to where it'll understand the breaks. Okay, much like this video. It knows 5 examples, this here, that there. Very important. You're going to speak clearly if you're talking, or make sure that the voice you use is clear. And you're going to improve the transcription and everything like that. Next up, you're going to do examples of AI-ready master content ideas. So some of the things you can do in your niche would be like glossary terms. This is a method I've been using for many years. It's called the glossary method, where we go through and we break our niche up into all the glossary points, and those now become content. Why? Because they're based on the way people search. When you look at all these, conventional loan, right? You're going to see, okay, all of these are based on how people search. And even though search is changing with AI, this is going to let the AIs know that you mean business. Because why? If you structure your content with AI is going to look at your content and be like, well, that's pretty good structured. I think that's what we want to rank. And I've seen a lot of my stuff get picked up using this method. Also, you could do like 50 free tools and what they do. Whatever your niche is, maybe 50 free tools for, losing weight or whatever it is. Or you could do 75 social media post ideas for small businesses, 100 ways to make money, 50 AI prompts for marketing, 100 common mistakes in this industry or that industry, or even like these are websites that whoever needs to know about. Very cool, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to turn your master content. So now you create the content, okay? Make that video, big webinar, whatever it is, off of the stuff. Like this is the one that I did last week. It worked well. From that, I was able to get this and a bunch of different blog posts as well. And you could see, I think last I checked, it was like 160 or 159. Okay, some of them got lost in translation, but I think there was 200 in all. Now, we could see here, it's even building me the slideshow. There you go. This is pretty easy content. It's still going, so there's almost 10 out of 31 so far. It even made like a little pros and cons, which is pretty cool. So now we're looking at this, and it's like, oh, this is pretty solid content. And a lot of people don't know this, right? It's shocking how little people know in these niches, which is why they're searching for it, right? We think that, oh, everyone's an expert just like me in this topic. That's not the case. Most people are not. Now, you can use Manus, you can use different video creators, ChatGPT, video tools, or whatever it is. My favorite, do it myself with Manus, record the screen, use my own voice just because it makes it easier for me. Now, the outputs you can make are like carousel slides for LinkedIn or Instagram. So here, we can go through and say, let's do AI model fine-tuning, or let's say something like, let's pick one of these here. AI affiliate marketing, okay? So if I say, now take this, and make a 6-image or 6-slide carousel from it, okay? And it would know, okay, now I want your logo on there just like this, and it's just going to keep going and going and going. Now, the key is having that different thing. Like, what is it that makes you stand out? Anyone can make a glossary. Can you make it so that they can save money, understand things better, get approved faster? What can you do that is going to help them? Okay, this is super important because if you have that one thing, like maybe you know how to do something different than other people, what is your specialty? What are you going to bring to the table? And if you don't know what it is, you can ask AI for it, right? Like, what kind of angle can I do that's different from other people? What can I do that's better, faster, stronger, whatever, okay? Then you're going to go through and create this. You could do carousel slides, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You could do 15 to 30 second short videos. I see people do this all the time. It works like crazy. You just got to be consistent. Obviously, your first one's probably not going to go viral. You got to get some skin in the game. You got to make it work. You got to build these up. Try it out. See what happens. Some will do well. Some won't do well. Duplicate what does well. Forget about what doesn't, right? Then we're going to go through and do blog articles, one per tip. Now you have something you can link to, right? Link your carousel to your blog article. And then you just go through and you're like, okay, now make a blog article from this skill with this stuff with my specific angle. Boom, there you go. Okay, infographics, email drip sequences, which would bring people back to your blog post and your images and all of this. It's all one big thing promoting you. You got to stay on topic. Whatever niche you're in, stay in that niche. Then your distribution is going to be publish a big piece on YouTube or some other place, right? Obviously, make sure you follow all the rules of every platform you're on. Post your slides on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Post tips on different social media. Repurpose your glossary into a PDF lead magnet. This was important. Last week's video, we went through and I put the entire list, right? So we went through with, I think it was this one. Yeah. So this one here, we went through with this video And I went through and I was like, oh, hey, check it out. Now you can download the full AI slides. I literally just got that from Manus, and boom, there we go. Super simple. Okay, then you go through and do that. Next up, we can do schedule email drips. Next, we're going to do AI formatting hacks. We're going to understand what the AI wants and how to give it to it. Use consistent wording so AI can pattern it. Always number your items. AI loves numbers. So does Google. Computers love numbers. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the tips. That's what you need. Simple. Avoid multi-idea sentences. Split things up. Make it easy. I struggle with this because I just get this market. I know how to do marketing online. I've been doing it 25 years. Sometimes I get going too fast and I got multiple things. AI doesn't want that. It wants to be very, very, very specific. Okay, starting to understand that is key. Okay, next up, include keywords that you want in final posts. So can you put the keywords in all the other stuff and make sure that they're all lined up in an easy way? You can make a short list in Google Docs, record the screen while walking through the list, upload it to Manus, show how it generates, the post, the slides, the tweets, whatever. Okay, you're going to ask it for what you want based on all the stuff that you made. Then you're going to say, hey, by the way, you want the big report, hop on over here, get the big report, you're good to go. Okay, super cool. Always keyword structured. Focus on the way people search, the way people think. When you go through and do your research, you can use Notebook LM, which is fantastic. We can go out there and get different sources and analyze them. You could use Gemini with deep research, okay? Seeing here, this is what your template's gonna look like, where it's like, oh, here's the headers and the things, and this is what AI sees as important. Okay, here's what it looks like before. Here's what it looks like after. We're gonna have a video later this week on what's known as JSON. I think I said it right, JSON prompting, where it's a prompt that AI understands. Again, in an AI world, we need to make content that AI understands. If it doesn't understand it, we're going to have a hard time. But if it does, then we're good to go. Okay? Very cool. Now, going through here, you want to have them go to your big checklist, your big whatever you have. Okay? The big webinar, the big checklist, anything. Then you're going to go through and look at the different types of processors, text-based, visual, audio, video, data, whatever it is, okay? Then we're gonna look at the outputs. We're gonna make them for higher conversions, traffic, SEO, monetization. If you're monetizing on platform, it'll help you. Different things like that. Much like if you were doing like a philosophy channel and you're going through and you're like, okay, let's define all these philosophies. Then we're gonna go through and we're gonna be like, oh, now I can go through and say, well, how would this compare to AI, right? What would Aristotle have thought of AI or Plato or whatever it is? And starting to think about what can I add that would make these 100 glossary terms, philosopher list, website list, what could I do that would make these different? Like you'll notice here on this channel, what I do is I try to give you my unique take of how I use AI, which from what I found, it's quite a bit different than how a lot of other people do, right? And then looking at that and saying, okay, how do we build? How do we grow? How do we make this in a different way is absolutely key. So when going through, look at this method, use your tools, Notebook LM, Gemini, Deep Research, get the prompt. We have the prompt outline at aiprofitscoop.com. You can get it, check it out. See how I did it? Like go back, watch last week's video. Look at this. Look at how it extracted it. Look at the notes on the screen. Look at how I made it. What I did with my notes is I went through and I said, now make a grid, right? So you could go through and say, now with all the terms, make a check box that I can use on a video saying whether it's good or bad or whatever. And what you'll see is it's a lot like what I made over here where it was a list, and that list was just checklists, right? So I was like, here's the AI profit skills. Which tool is best for that skill? And we go through and we make it work, right? Pretty cool, pretty awesome. And then we're going to go through and boom, we're ready to go. And that's exactly what I recorded and what I broke up using Manus to get the slides, to get the other stuff that promotes the big thing that basically gets everyone into my big funnel. So if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button. Creating content for AI. If you want to learn more about it, let me know as a comment below. I'll make some more videos like this. Check out the notes at AIProfitScoop.com. Obviously, go through and think about how you can make good content with the purpose of having AI turn it into other stuff, thus turning your 2 hours into like 50 hours of work without having to do the 50 hours of work because you did the 2 hours the right way. This is key. It's like building a house. If you get the foundation wrong, it's going to take forever, right? We want to go through and we want to focus and make it work in a very specific way and get that foundation right, right? The foundation is, here's this 200 list thing. Here's all this stuff I have. How do I build and grow based on this? And now I can chop it up using AI. Really cool stuff. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button. Let me know as a comment below. Check out the links in the description, and I'll see you in the next training.